Welcome back to the channel, guys. In this video I'm going to talk about how you can set up a virtual machine on Azure. This will be part of Azure VDI solution. In this video I'm going to be walking you through how to set up a virtual network, a resource group, a virtual machine, application group, and a workspace. Those are the key components needed to be able to set up a successful VDI solution. A VDI solution is very helpful for people who want to work remote, who want their infrastructure purely on cloud, who don't want to use VPN, and just need ease access. This could be to replace your current on-prem solution. This can be used temporarily for seasonal workers, for contractors. This can be used for developers for testing their apps. So yeah, it is very versatile, and in this video we will have a look at how to set that up. So let's get started. I'm going to log into my Azure subscription here. So of course you should have your own Azure subscription before you can even get started. So I am gonna log in to my account here. Just gonna accept this 2FA quickly. Yes. And another one. I'm sorry, but I have to do this. Make sure you have multi-factor enabled on your account as well, just to protect. And we should be good to go now. Okay, so gotta log into your Azure portal. Must have a subscription. I currently have a subscription. It's pay as you go. So I'm gonna go in there. We will start by creating a resource group. So I prefer using this search box here at the top. If I know the name of the thing I want to create. So I want to first create a container, a logical container at the parent level, and inside that I will create other necessary resources. So we have the subscription, and then below it we have resource group. So that is what I will be creating here. So we'll hit create, and we will call it Azure VDI. Let's call it lab. Can we capitalize it just to make it look pretty? Yes, we can. VDI should be that. Okay, looks good. I'm gonna leave it in East US too, but please change the location. Always use tags, so I'm gonna just call it lab and just VDI, I guess. Let's hit create here, and we have created the parent container, which will have all the resources. So it should be instant. It's not listing as of yet, but if I keep refreshing, we can see there is the Azure VDI lab. Inside it, it's completely empty. So we will start by creating a network. A network is the base, so you always want to have a network before you set up other things, like a virtual machine or anything. So we will search here at the top VNet and choose that. We will hit create a virtual network, and we are gonna keep that resource group. It automatically did not select that for us, so we will pick the right one. Give it a name. So I am gonna call it Azure VDI Lab VNet. Hopefully it takes it. Looks like it. Let's go to review and create. Before I do that, let me just give some theory here for folks who are very new to this. So when you are creating a VNet, of course you need an IP range. By default, Azure will give you one of those private IP addresses starting with 10 or 172 or 192. 192 with /16 gives you 65,536 addresses, What this means is you can have these many hosts in the network. So of course we're not going to use all of that, so we will divide it further in subnets. So you get the pool of like the network, and then you divide it further in subnets by using CIDR notation. So we will use /24. /24 basically represents the subnet mask of the network, and that subnet mask gives you the number of addresses. So if we use /24 on the same private network, we will get 256 addresses. If we use /16, we will get 65,336. So it's all about, the slash. I'm not gonna go into the concept of networking, but basically they gave you these many addresses, and they also gave you one subnet, but you can always add more to it. Okay, since I'm going to be only creating one virtual machine, I think 256 addresses are more than enough. However, I would like to rename the name of this subnet from default to main, so that if you have a main network and you have branch offices, you can name that like that. Or if you have production or testing or development, you can name these subnets accordingly. So I'm just gonna call it main. I will leave it to in the range of 10.0.0, and we'll just hit save here. So let's go ahead and click on review and create, and we're just gonna glance over everything. Looks good. We will hit create. I didn't add any tags, but please use tags in production. It just helps a lot, like creating reports when it comes to analyzing the cost, all that. It's just very helpful, so please use tags. So it is deploying. Should not take very long. If it does, I will just pause the video. Oh, there we go. So it's already finished. So now we have a virtual network. So we got the basics, we got the network. Now we need to spin up a virtual machine. So traditionally what we would do is we would just search virtual machine and we would just create a virtual machine. However, this route, you can spin up a virtual machine, but you will have to set up a VPN, and then a client or the users will have to use Azure VPN to connect to Azure's network, and then you have to take care of all that routing and stuff, and it also adds cost to it. So what the Azure VDI solution offers is something called host pool technology. A host pool is basically something where you can set up a virtual machine and you can publish apps off of that virtual machine to the users, but the user does not need a VPN to connect to that server or the apps on that server. So that is the benefit. So I'm going to show you how to set up virtual machine in a host pool, and then I'll show you how user can access it via an app. They can just log into that app on their computer and they can just access it. There is no VPN needed, which is very good. So that's what we'll do. So we will instead search for host pools, okay, and we will create one, and it gives you the definition and collection of virtual machines within an Azure Virtual Desktop environment. So it is collection of VMs that can be published to the users without a use of VPN, because Microsoft will handle all the routing for you. So we will select the resource group we created for this, and we will call it, let's see if we can call it HP host pool. So it takes it. We leave the location the same. We don't want to validate the environment. What kind of apps do we prefer? So at the moment I need the desktop, but there is two options here. The desktop will simply publish the entire virtual machine to the user. A remote app will publish the apps from that server to the user. So for now we will set it to desktop. Later on we will set it to remote apps, okay? Type of the host pool, so this is something you gotta be careful of because you cannot change it later on. So we will select um, pooled. Pool will be useful in production where you need multiple VMs and you have a lot of users who are remoting onto the server. A personal would be, of course, it's going to be for one user, but we'll click on pooled. Uh, do we have a session host configuration? So a session host and a host pool are two different things. Host pool is the container which will contain a session host. A session host is basically a server or a virtual machine. So session host equals virtual machine. Session host equals terminal server. Session host equals a VM on the cloud. So that is what a session host is. No, we don't have any custom configuration. We will use the load balancer algorithm. The breadth first. Breadth first will fill the users in, and then it will move. It will divide the users actually. Depth first. The number you so if I specify 5, and I keep the algorithm for balancing to depth first. If there are 2 virtual machines, 5 users will be filled on one virtual machine, and then the 6th one will go on to the second virtual machine. But if I set it to breadth first, it's gonna be distributed evenly by the algorithm. So we will keep it to breadth first, and we will hit next. Do we want a session host? And session host, as I said, it means a virtual machine, and it also says add virtual machine. So we'll hit yes. We will create one virtual machine here. Name for the virtual machine, I will call it session host 1. So we're exceeding the length of the name, so we'll have to chop down some. Let's see if it takes that. It still doesn't take it. Session host 1. Okay, it takes that. Yeah, it's gonna be an Azure virtual machine, not a local virtual machine. We will keep the location to East US, but change it. I don't want any redundancy, so there is a difference between zone redundancy and availability set and availability zone. You're gonna have to learn this on your own. If I start going over every option, it'll take forever, and I don't think that is necessary in this video. So we will keep the security standard. We can keep it to this one here. It just gives you secure boot, TPM, all those stuff. Let's select our image. Now you have our traditional Windows servers here. You must be familiar with these if you've worked with the on-prem. But these are something very specific to Azure Cloud or Azure VDI. These are the desktop OS, but they are multi-session. So basically, you don't need to install remote desktop RDCals, RD user roles, which you would install on a Windows server so that users can remote it. So Windows 11 Enterprise multi-session, and it also has Microsoft 365 apps installed in it. So users can remote in, and they also have apps installed in it. Usually this is what I go for small businesses. So I'm gonna select that. And you can also pick the resources here. By default, it's using the most common one, which is the D2 ASV5 with 2 vCPUs and 8 gigs of memory. I am gonna change it because it's a demonstration and I don't want to cost a lot of money making this video. So I will also show you something here. So if I go back, and when I clicked on change size, you'll see it tells you the most used Azure users, and the most important is these resources. So it tells you how many CPUs it has, the RAM, the data disk, IOPS, but also the cost per month, which is very important, so that you have an estimate of how much it's going to cost monthly for the end user. So I am gonna go to B series, which I know is the cheapest, and I will select the top one here, which has 2 vCPUs and 8 gigs of RAM, and others doesn't really matter that much to me. So I'm gonna select that, and now you should see it's switched. let's give how many numbers, so you can spin up like 10 VMs right away. It's so powerful, but we'll just spin up one VM. Keep it to the standard SSD. Size is that's the lowest I can get, 128 gigs. And I don't want any boot diagnostics because it's gonna set up a storage account with log analytics. Please enable it in production so you can troubleshoot any weird issue that come up for end user, because you don't have physical access to the server. So any kind of diagnostics data you can get while troubleshooting will be very helpful. We are gonna select our virtual network, which it's not showing that to us. Interesting. So this is something we created before we came here. So let's just duplicate and see what's up with that. It could be that it just needs refreshing. Refreshing. Virtual network. So I'm gonna just search VNet. And I know we created, yes, we have a VNet. So I'm not sure why it is not showing that to us in here. So let me just try refreshing this. I'm gonna copy this name and I'm just gonna refresh the page. So basically the VNet we created is not showing in the drop down menu. So I'm just gonna see if let's set it to 10. Okay, let's give it the name. Oh no, that's the host pool name. Host pool. Select the resource group, give the host pool name. We will select, yeah, looks good. Let's go to session host tab here. Yes, name, yeah, it looks good. We don't want redundancy. Looks good. Let's change it to B series quickly. Let's see this one here. Oh, this is even cheaper. Okay, so it's just got one CPU and 0.5. Let me put it to 2 gigs of RAM because we will be connecting to it and I don't want it to take forever. Just spin up. Okay, that looks good. Disable. Yeah, we can go down to 32 gigs on the storage. That's cool. Let me put it to 64 just in case. It is not showing our network. Interesting. None. Did we do something wrong here? Could it be that it is in different location? So I am guessing it's probably because we are in a different location. Let me put this to East US so that it matches the location. Now I think that's probably the problem here. Let's see. It is not. Okay, we can connect to it to the VNet later on, I think, but we'll see. So we don't want to join it to Intunes. You can do that for right now for this. So you can join this virtual machine to the VNet, or sorry, Intunes, but I'm not gonna do that. And also you can set up an Active Directory server on the Azure or Active Directory domain services if you want to publish SMB shares to the clients. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna leave it to Enter ID. Let's create an admin account. So I'm just gonna call it admin, which is reserved, of course. Let's say lab admin. Yeah. Okay, set up a password. We don't need a custom configuration URL. Let's hit next. Next, please assign tag when you're creating it. Now we got a problem for this image. Okay, let's set it to that. And we don't have a network. Interesting. That's something I didn't expect to happen. Let me move it to yeah, it is the correct resource group, and that is the location, same subscription. So yeah, you run into these problem, and I've never run into this problem. Why? I don't know why it's not picking that up. Should though. None. Must not be empty. Okay, let me just try one more time. We will just close this tab here, and we will create a host pool. I'm sorry guys, but it's just okay. So we'll pick the correct resource group. We will give it a name. Let's call it host pool. Let's store it in this location, and we will not validate. I am just gonna quickly skim through these options here so I can get to the next one. Yes, let me see if okay, there we go. I don't know why it was not popping up. Anyways, let's move on. We will name it session host pool 1. Select the image, Windows 11 multi-session with apps. Change the VM to the cheapest one. Select the disable diagnostics. Let's reduce the size of the disk. We only want one virtual machine. We can't reduce the size right now. If I was able to before. Anyways, we see, so the subnet name is showing up now. This is what we set it to. We will not use any network security group. We will use Microsoft Entra ID so that users can just use their email to log in. We're not going to enroll it in Intunes. We will set the lab. This is basically a local admin account you will be using to log into the server. Alright, let's hit next. Yes, we want a workspace. So a workspace is gonna be connected to this virtual machine. So this workspace is where the users will work in. So this workspace will contain all the apps. And so workspace, the VM, and then the users. So users connect to the workspace. Workspace feeds the apps on the server to the user. So that's what the workspace is needed for. It's very important. I should have a better diagram instead of using my hands. So I'm sorry, but yeah. Let's hit create. We don't have a workspace, so you can see the definition here. Yeah. But basically it is where all the apps will be registered and the users will connect to. That's what users connect to. They connect to the workspace. So there is no workspace, of course. We will create a new one and we will call it workspace. Let's click on management. We don't need any diagnostics to save cost, and we got an error. Let's see what the error is about. We don't need any redundancy. Let's click on workspace, create. We should be fine this time. Yes, we are. Okay, let's hit create. Now it can fail still. Even though we filled all the information, it can still fail. So I'm just gonna prepare myself. Hopefully it doesn't, fingers crossed. Let's see. So it's gonna take a while, in my opinion, 10 to 15 minutes, because what it's doing is it is using the deployment YAML file. So this is the template, which contains one virtual machine, which is gonna be Entra ID joined, which will have a B series resource and a hard disk, and it will, all the things we set is in the template, and then Azure is just using that template and deploying the resource in that resource group. So it's gonna take a while. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just pause the video and I will come back once it's finished deploying. Okay guys, so the deployment just succeeded or completed. It took how long? I would say 18 minutes to complete. So let's check it out. So we got so we're in the host pool, and that's the name of the host pool. If we go to settings, we have the settings for RDP, because I told you this will let you remote in. We got the properties, the type of the app group we're currently using desktop, start VM on connect, yes, all those stuff, the load balancing, etc., the networking. But let's go to overview, and we will see the total machines we have is just one, because that's what we set up, and that was the name of the server we set. And it is currently up and running. It has checked everything successfully, the size, all that good stuff. Now what we'll do is we will first access the server itself from an app called Windows app here. So at the bottom, I'm gonna just launch it, and this is what the end user will have. So they won't have any VPN to connect to. They will just have this app called Windows app installed on their computer, and they just gotta sign in with their accounts. So I am gonna go ahead and sign in with an account provided by the IT people, which will be usually their email, which will be their Microsoft 365 email. So I'm gonna log into the 365 admin portal, and that is not okay. So I'm gonna have to find that account in Enter ID. Just ignore this section, because if I start talking about this, it'll just be a big tangent. But basically, I'm finding an account to log into the admin portal, 365 admin portal, which is not taking. Okay, and that should be the password. So now we are in the admin center, and you would create a user account here. For the testing of this account, we will use the admin account itself. So I'm just gonna sign in with the admin account, or we can also, no, let's use the admin account. So we're gonna use that, sign in. So if I sign in, I will not see any server or nothing, okay? It shouldn't show me anything. And you can see there is no apps found. So, and we are signed in with that account. So let's give permissions now. There is two places you need to assign this user permission, so they can log a list, so they can see the app published, and second, they can log into it. So there is two things. Let's first make the user see the app itself here in the app. So for that, we will go to the host pool by just searching host pool, and open up the host pool. We'll click on manage. We will use application group to publish this app, and you can see there's already a group, application group type desktop, and this app group is by default created whenever you spin up a virtual machine. So we didn't really set this up. It was set up when we were deploying the server. So if I go to application, I will see the session desktop. I just need to assign my user under assignment to be able to see this. So we'll select the admin account, hit select, and if I refresh, there it is. So we have the application group, the app, and the assignment. Okay, so you go to assignment and you assign the user, or a better practice would be creating a group here and then assigning the group to the app instead of individual users, so it's easier to manage. But after this assignment, I should be able to list the server here. So if I'm gonna hit refresh, it might take a minute or two, even 5 minutes sometime, to propagate, but looks like it is gonna show us the server, and there it is. We have our session desktop. If we hit connect to it though, it's not gonna let us connect to it. But let's see, because I said there should be two permissions. We assigned the permission that will let us list the app, but we haven't assigned the permission that will let us log into the app. So I'm gonna use the admin at techies, or sorry, let me just copy paste it, and I'm gonna use the password for this email account, and let's see if it doesn't. Okay, so that is the problem. we're gonna have to assign this user a virtual machine login role. So we need a role which will let us log in to the server. So we will go to the host pool. We will find our virtual machine, which is gonna be an overview, and the virtual machine, we'll go to the virtual machine itself. Its access control, which is IAM, assign a role. Again, this should be done using a group, but the role name is virtual machine user login, or if you are an admin and you want to log in as an admin account, you will use virtual machine admin login. So I'm going to use admin login. We'll hit next, and this is where I assign the user. So better scenario, create a group and assign, but I'm gonna just use the user account here, which is admin. Just gonna delete that. Why don't I see that account here? Let's copy, paste. There it is. Why is the username different? Okay, I'm just gonna try again. So I want this user. Okay, I guess some glitch. Anyways, we assigned this user virtual machine admin login, and now we should be able to log in to the server. So I'm gonna go back to host pool, click on that, and I'll also turn on this settings here, which is to let me use the Entra ID to connect to the server. So Microsoft Entra ID single sign-on, so will let us use our Entra ID account, which is this, to log into the server. Okay, so we'll hit save, and I'm just gonna go here and refresh it, but let's see, it might take some time for changes to propagate. So I'm just gonna refresh it a couple of times. And I'm sorry this video is getting too long, but it's just I wanted to do the whole setup and show you, and we are almost finished. So if we hit connect now, it's gonna ask for the username, so I'm just gonna copy this, use sign in with different account, next, password, and now hit sign in, and there we go, it's looking good. Let's see, connecting, and we should be connecting soon. I did forget to turn the settings so that it does not take all my display, so I'm gonna set it to single display so it doesn't take all of my computer displays, but I'm just gonna close this out here, and settings, single display. Okay, let's connect again. Hopefully it doesn't ask me for the username password, because it's gonna use this single sign-on to log in. And yeah, I'm going over a lot of terminologies which might not make sense to you, but that's what the comment section is for. Please ask me. I can make a video, or I can try explaining it to you in the questions or in the comments. So please, my purpose is to give you knowledge, okay? So it's loading. This is the server we set up originally, and it's taking some time because it's a B series server, not a lot of resources on it. And it's also installing the Microsoft 365 apps in the background. So there we go, that is our server. It is the server we set up on Azure. If I go to about this PC, it should give us the name. It should give us this name here. So let's go back to the server, and I'm just gonna refresh. Let's go to settings. Come on, respond to me. please. So system, maybe I can try typing, but it's just not gonna take that, in my opinion. About your PC. Okay, still loading things. Okay. Maybe we can navigate to it through here. Oh. I'm sure you guys believe me, like this is the server. I just wanted to show it to you for the sake of my satisfaction. Okay, settings, come on. Okay, and so that is the name. There it is. If we go to about, should tell us the OS, which should be Windows 11 multi-session, and there it is. Okay, so let's go back. Now what we can do is we can install apps on this server, and then we can publish it to the end user. I'm not gonna install any app. I'm just gonna publish like Word app or Outlook to the end user, which is gonna be running on this server. So I'm just gonna close out of this, if it will let me click, but let me just minimize. So this is the app, right? Right now we only have the server, but we don't really want users to use server. We just want them to use the apps they need, right? That is the whole purpose. So this is done for us, for admin, so we can access the server and we can install the necessary apps needed. Okay, so I'm gonna just disconnect here, and we are gonna publish some apps to the user this time. So let's go to our host pool and open the host pool, and we will go to application group. There is just one application group, so we gotta create another one. So we'll click add, use the same resource group, and this time instead of using desktop we will use remote app as a application group, and we will use Azure VDI remote app group, RAG. Let's go. Application, we can publish apps now, so we can publish it from start menu, and it lists all the apps that you will have in the start menu of the server. So we will use, let's do Outlook Classic. Okay, hit next. It's already filled in for you, so you don't need to worry about it. It's the custom apps that you download, or the third-party apps that you download from the internet. That's where you gotta assign the executable path. You can add more applications here, but I'm just gonna leave it to Outlook. We'll hit next. Who this should be assigned to will be assigned to the admin user, because that's what's logged in here. Okay, so yes, we do want to register this. Let's hit next, create, and so this is the resource group, this is the application group, this is the type of application group, this is the host pool it's going to be registered to, this is the user it's going to be registered to, okay, and that's the workspace it's going to be registered to. So we'll hit create. Remember, workspace is important. Workspace encompasses the applications, okay, so workspace needs to be there. So it should be pretty quick here, and once that's deployed, if I go in here and if I refresh it, you should see, I guess there is one settings we need to toggle. So we have the deployment completed. If we go to that application group, we will have the app, of course, Outlook, and you can always add more. Okay, you can always add more. Let's just add Word. Okay, review, create. So we have two apps published now. Assignment wise, we have one user who has access to those two apps, and we will also make sure it is Up and running, it is. Now all we gotta do is toggle an option that will flip users access. So it used to be that Microsoft would let us publish both the server itself and the apps on it to the user, but now you can only have, you can have either or. You can either have the server itself or the apps. So that's what we'll have to do. So we'll go to properties and we will toggle preferred app group type from desktop to remote app and hit save. And this what's gonna this do is we will lose access to the server, the desktop, and then we will see the remote apps. So if I hit refresh or refresh, I don't know what to say. There is the apps now, and now we can see there's Outlook and Word, and that is the name of the workspace. So if I launch Word quickly, what it's gonna do is it's actually logging me into the server itself. And you can, if I expand that open, you can see it's in the background, it's connecting to the server, logging in, and then launching the app. But this is way better than giving user access to the entire server. This, first of all, will reduce the resource consumption of the server, reducing the cost, and also this will just let them focus on productivity instead of moving around in the server. Okay.